Hello, everyone. Let me begin by saying it is a great privilege to share this stage with one of the top-selling authors in India. And being a woman, that's astonishing. And I want to begin by asking this question. 14 books in 15 years and hundreds of articles, poetry, blogs, and a lot of things. You're good at everything you do. How did you achieve this success?
Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be here. And small correction, it's 16 books, not 15, and all 16 are bestsellers. So how did I achieve it? Honestly, it's little by little. You know, I never thought when I started out that I would reach this place. For my second book, I received over 40 rejections. Over 40 rejections. Life is what you make it. You guys might have read it because most people know me by Life is What You Make It. And that book was rejected so many times. So one of the secrets I would say is to never give up. Even if, see, the world may not be ready for what you have to offer. But then if you are sure of what you have to offer and if you are certain, then I feel it'll come to you. You know, whatever is meant for you will come to you. One has to be patient. Because Life is What You Make It, I had researched over 2 years to write that book. And I must be the only author who got rejected, not only in India. I went to UK, there also I got rejected. So every day I would wait that, oh, someone will publish this book. And every day there would be a rejection slip. And it was very hard. It was really hard. Because I had traveled from UK to India. I had gone to Nimhans. I had done so much of research to write that book. And today it's very gratifying that the book has sold over 1 million copies, been translated, helped so many people. But had I given up, okay, after the 5th rejection or the 6th rejection or 10th rejection, had I given up, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be sitting here today and I wouldn't have been even, I wouldn't have written rest of the books. So one of the important things I feel is to not give up, to be persistent. And the fact is, I was writing even when nobody was reading me. You know, I used to write blogs and no one was reading it. Still I was writing. Today, millions of people are reading me. I'm still writing. So it's just that you have to keep doing what you love doing. That's one of the things.
Not just in Indian English, even in the regional languages, so many books are coming out every year. So publishing is one thing, but marketing yourself in a smart way and being visible is another thing. How did you manage that?
So initially when I started out, comfortable in English? No problem, right? Okay. Because Malayalam ariya enikku. Malayalam samsarikka. So the thing is, when I first started, I didn't know what I was getting into. So I said, you know, I was first writing a blog and I started writing after the death of my father. Suddenly I lost him. I was in Pune. He was supposed to visit me 1 week later. And he had no age-related illness, nothing. Even the hair was like, he used to never dye his hair, it was black. So, and he would walk 5 kilometers every day. And suddenly he passed away in the middle of a conversation with my mother. Like, and they were supposed to visit me a week later. And that really shook me, you know. And I didn't know. At that time, my children were small. I have 2 children. They are grown up now. My son is 25. My daughter is 22. Both are working. That time, they were small kids. So I really didn't know what hit me. And I didn't know how to cope. And one time, I was living in Pune at that time. So one day I was looking at Economic Times, and this was way back in 2006. So I saw one small article which said blog. Okay, blog is becoming popular. I did not even know what a blog was. So I said, okay, let me try. Because for me, after my children went to school, it was like very hard to cope with my dad's death. I would wake up in the morning, it felt like somebody had slapped me, but I had to go on. So then I started that blog anonymously. Okay, so we were talking about how to market yourself, make yourself visible. It was anonymous. So then I said, I was doing so many things, but as a joke, I kept the name Just a Mother of Two. Because I said, okay, nobody will know. So anonymously, I started it. And every day I would post something which is positive. Okay, it can be as simple as one cup of tea. Like if someone has made a cup of tea, I can be grateful for that. If I saw one rainbow, I'm grateful for that. So it's like this, a drowning person will clutch even at a straw. So honestly, I was drowning, and that blog kept me going. And nobody was reading that blog, but every day, sincerely, I would write. In fact, you guys can go and check it out. It's called blog.preetishenoy.com. That first entry which I wrote in October, it's full of grammatical errors because I was not in a mindset to write. It's a small paragraph. I said I'm going to leave it like this because I want to remember later where I came from. So I left it like that, and then in 2007, I continued writing. And one fine day, somebody from UK read my blog and left a comment. So I was so excited. I remember coming down the stairs and telling my husband, somebody actually read my blog and left a comment, you know. And later we became friends. Later I moved to UK. That person and I, he was an artist. We became friends. But this is how my journey started. Then in 2007, one of my blog posts got picked up by a radio show host in the US. It won the Perfect Post Award. And that post was about my father. So at that time, everyone wanted to see who is this just a mother of two? Who is this person behind the blog? And I was very scared, okay. So they said, you put your photo. And I said, I don't know who's going to see my photo, what is going to happen, because it's a very conservative mindset. I don't know what I'm getting into. So I put the photo of my feet. You know, some feet I put, I said, they can see my feet. And later, of course, people came to know who I was because I started writing for Times of India. I wrote for Chicken Soup for the Soul. Natural Progression was into a book. And by the time 2-3 years had passed, and then I was okay with showing my face. So I have come up from there. So it's just one small step at a time. And throughout the year, I learned like how to market, how to speak about my book. Because here's the thing, if you have written something, if you do not talk about it, if you do not go and tell people that, look, here's a book worth reading, then nobody else is going to read your book. So it's very important to speak about the book, to promote it. It's really important because only then will people come to know about it. I mean, if you write a book and sit quietly and do not promote it, you might as well write a diary. You know, it's like a private thing. Because a book, you are totally going public. And over the years, I learned how to, but my beginnings were very humble.
Let's start talking about the book.
Yeah.
It's called A Place Called Home, and it begins by a very philosophical sentence on secrets. So, Margaret Atwood in Blind Assassin says the best secret, if you really want to keep a secret, the best way of keeping the secret is to pretend there isn't one. So the protagonist of this novel, she tries to do the same for a very long time and then fails. Let's talk about Alka.
How many of you have read the book, Place Called Home? Okay, so only one person, so I won't give away too many spoilers. So the book begins with this sentence, like Arundhati said. So it's divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is leaving home. And it begins with a beautiful quote. All the parts begin with a quote. And part 1 says, in the sea there are countless treasures. But if you desire safety, it is on the shore. Sadi. So the book begins like that. And the book starts here and it says, there are 2 kinds of secrets. Some we wear like an invisible cloak, which we don when we need to be shielded from the judging eyes of society, and discard over a few drinks in the company of friends. These are harmless secrets. Others are the kind that weigh you down like a stone. You bury them deep, deep within you. You carry them around for so long that they become an intrinsic part of you, till you no longer see them as burdens. These kind of secrets you take with you to the grave, or at least you intend to. But the problem with the secret is that when it is between 2 people, you can never have complete control of it. You can only trust the other person to keep it and carry on with your life. As Alka walked briskly up the winding, curved mountain trail of the coffee estate in Sakleshpur that neatly sliced the dense forest in 2, she was not thinking about her secret at all. So this is the setting of the book. It's a beautiful coffee estate and we have our protagonist Alka walking up the slope and she's not thinking about her secret, which makes you curious to read, right? Yeah, so you want to know what is Alka's secret. And yes, I think the book has a huge theme of secrets, and I think we all have secrets. We all have secrets. We pretend we don't have secrets, but deep down we do. There is that thing which we will not share with anyone, which we will not tell anyone. Maybe we even hide it from ourselves, because I feel life is very hard. And sometimes I feel these little lies we tell ourselves are needed to get by, and that's what the protagonist does. And as you read, you will know her motivation, what the secret is, how she dealt with this. As the book progresses, you come to know about that.
I did visit your blog, and one title really hit me. It was about 10 things you should never ask a writer. So I'm being very careful here. I wanted to have a very nuanced discussion about the novel, but not many people have read it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give any spoilers.
How many of you plan to read it? Okay, so then we really should not give spoilers because a lot of people plan to read it. So yeah, we won't give any spoilers, don't worry.
The one thing I felt about the book is that it is definitely women-centric. All the strong characters, whether it is Alka or her mother or her friend or her mother-in-law, all these women are, they have a very strong personality, opinionated, they have their own worldview. So do you like to be tagged as a woman writer who writes women-centric works?
Not really, because there is a lot of my work. Like, see, my characters are strong people because one of my books is 100 Little Flames, and there the protagonist is an 80-year-old person. He's an octogenarian, a grumpy old man named Gopal Shankar. So that's totally from a male point of view. In the one you cannot have, again there's male point of view. In All the Love You Deserve, the book is told from, that's my latest book. It's told from 3 points of view, Pooja, Sujit and Arush. So Sujit and Arush are men, so it's like a male point of view. So I do try to balance, between a male point of view and female point of view, and my books are read across all genders. Women also read, men also read. So it just so happens that in this book, women are strong characters. In some book they are not, but they find their strength. So I wouldn't say that I am a woman-centric writer at all. I would just say I tell a good story and I give the book what the characters demand, what the plot demands.
Is there a woman who you relate to the most in this novel?
Surely Alka, simply because, Alka is not afraid of going after what she needs. And she will do whatever it takes to get what she needs, because I'll give you the context of this book. Because for those of you who haven't read it, I'll just read out the back blurb so you'll know what I'm talking about. In the windowless, cramped servant's room at Mrs. Shetty's luxurious house, where her mother is a maid, Alka dreams of an escape. When Mrs. Shetty decides to send her to the same school as her daughter, she works hard, molding herself into a new avatar. She marries Subbu, a coffee grower with a 400-acre estate. Between taking care of her heritage home, her 2 young daughters, and her fabulous relationship with her mother-in-law, Alka's life feels complete. But when secrets about her past that she has fiercely guarded are exposed, they threaten to destroy her life. To protect all that she has, Alka must fight her demons and travel back to the world she worked so hard to leave behind. So basically, Alka has spent her entire childhood in one small room, and her mother works as a maid for Mrs. Shetty. And Mrs. Shetty decides to send Alka to the same school as her daughter. So Alka speaks good English, she wears good clothes, but deep down she knows she's different from all the others. So how much will the society accept such a person? So this is one of the themes of the book, and this will put in context a lot of what Arundhati and I are going to talk about. So for me, it's Alka simply because she has to claw hard even to get a small thing. Like for us in the winter, if we are in North India, room heater is a granted thing, it's there. If we are here AC, we just switch on the AC. But for Alka, even those small necessities are something she has to fight for. So for me, my favorite character is Alka.
As the blurb mentions, Mrs. Shetty is a rich woman. She lets Alka and her mother, the maid and the daughter, to stay at her house. And Mrs. Shetty also lets the kid to go to the same school as her daughter does. And Mrs. Shetty says this as a very magnanimous act, and she shows off to her friends how smart Alka is. See, I am providing for the daughter of my maid, and because of me, she is speaking English and everything. But Mrs. Shetty is oblivious to the class privileges she has. So she wants Alka to be grateful for whatever she has given her. And this is a major crisis we see in this novel. Some people might think Alka is too arrogant, that she doesn't value whatever Mrs. Shetty has done. And obviously, some others think that Mrs. Shetty is an arrogant, ignorant, privileged lady. So, where do you stand? What did you want to really convey?
So the thing is, see, Mrs. Shetty is giving what is extra for her. She's not really sacrificing anything. She's getting something out of helping Alka. It's not entirely an act of altruism. Okay, so, and she wants Alka to be very grateful. So Mrs. Shetty can't comprehend. And Alka doesn't say anything because Alka is smart. When she's growing up, she knows that if she tells anything, they'll get kicked out of the house. And that's the thing, you know, because for Mrs. Shetty, Alka is replaceable. If not Alka, another girl. If not another girl, third girl. And she's not doing it for nothing. Her mother works, slaves her life away. And that's what happens. But Mrs. Shetty, wants to show off. And see, the thing is where this came from. I used to volunteer. After my father died, I used to volunteer in Pune. And we had to teach. I would work with the underprivileged children. So I would go every morning and I would work with these children, and these children come from very poor backgrounds, okay? And unfortunately in our country, if you want a good job, you need to speak English, unfortunately. And because regional language, only in that place you will get. And I have nothing against regional languages. My mother tongue is Konkani and I speak 6 languages including Malayalam. So I love regional languages. But unfortunately, because of our 200 years of the British rule, we all have to speak English. So in that school, the underprivileged, English was essential. So we were not allowed to, I was in Pune, so we were not allowed to speak to the children in Marathi. And you'd be so surprised at how fluently the children started speaking English. English and math, that is what we were teaching them. So then that led me to thinking that if someone wore the same clothes as us and someone spoke English, we immediately look at the person differently. You know, when they wear different clothes and when they are from a slightly poor background, they can't speak English, we treat them differently. So that became a crux in this book. And the fact that Mrs. Shetty, she'll call Alka. When Alka is a small girl, she will call, her friends will be there. And she'll say, you know, speak in English. And Alka really felt like she was like a monkey. You know, a monkey is being asked to perform. And I felt I wanted to portray that sensitivity. That many of us are oblivious to privilege. And I wanted to portray that, and that's one of the reasons I wrote this book.
Let's move to the next phase of Alka's life. This book is also about friendship. This book is also about love and heartbreak. I went through all the reviews in Amazon, in Google, in Goodreads. I went through the reviews, and everyone was happy until Alka made certain choices, very daring choices. So one disappointment many fans shared was that why did Alka deceive her best friend by falling in love with the guy her friend was dating? That made a wrong choice. Alka made a wrong choice, and it shows a character flaw or something like that.
Yeah, see, everyone wants to read perfect love stories, okay? Everybody wants this thing where heroine has no faults, hero is handsome, and they're all. But here, every character has shades of grey. And I believe in writing realistic characters because all of us have shades of grey. And for Alka, especially coming from such a background, imagine the baggage that she'll be carrying. And Subbu, her husband is Subbu, and in the first chapter itself, you come to know that she was in love with Subbu's brother, Krish, but she married Subbu in the very first chapter, so that's not a spoiler. So the thing is, many of us want to read stories with absolutely no grayness. But this book, there's a lot of grey shades because that's how I feel life is. And if you look at Krish, Krish was also not the ideal boyfriend material. Krish has grown up in a boarding school And he has a lot of girlfriends. Lot of girls throw themselves. So he keeps changing his girlfriends. And if we read the book, we'll come to know that Mansi also really threw herself at Krish. And Krish was just playing along because that's just who he is. But with Alka, it was true love that he felt. And the moment Alka knew that something was up, something was up and that Mansi was pregnant, she walked away. And also, if you look at Alka, for Alka, getting a home means everything. She's, if I say further, I would be giving spoilers since all of you told me you're reading the book. I won't give any spoilers. But Alka made those choices because she knew what she wanted. She was not afraid to go behind it. And I guess a lot of people see, because they're very used to Bollywood type love story, with no layers. But you all are from Kerala and some beautiful movies come out from Kerala, like Kumblangi Nights, which is so layered, and Falimi recently, and my nephew has acted in that. The younger brother of Basil is actually my nephew. So I feel it's a very layered story. So I feel Keralites definitely will see the layers, which probably others may not see. Those who have written reviews will not be Keralites, for sure.
So from a very young age, Alka dreams to be independent. She wants her mother to have their own house. She wants to earn so many things. She wants to get out of that cramped room. She doesn't end up building a house for herself, but she finds a home. So this title itself, it leads to everything what I said. You can read the book. How do you define home?
A home can be anything. Okay, a home can be a person. A home can be a feeling. A home can be a place. A home need not be brick and mortar. Because as a child, my father had a transferable job. So every 3 years we moved. And my grandparents were from Kerala. So every summer vacation we would come here and spend time here. All my cousins would speak Malayalam and I didn't know Malayalam because at home we spoke Konkani. So I had this desperate need to learn Malayalam. Okay, and for them home was Kerala. But for me, home was not Kerala. Home was, sometimes it was Chennai, sometimes it was Mumbai, because my father kept moving. It was a job which was transferable. So for me, and then after I got married, my husband also had a transferable job. So I moved not only places, I moved countries. So then when I went to UK became home. When I went to Pune became home. When I lived in Pondicherry for a while. So I really feel home is a feeling. Home is a feeling. Home is whom you feel comfortable with. Home is where you can be yourself, where you don't have to pretend, where you're accepted by others for who you are, with all your flaws. They know it and they still accept, and I feel that is what is home.
Do you think Alka really found the right home?
She found a brick and mortar home for sure. But did she find a right home? There's a sequel coming. In fact, I was writing the sequel just before coming for the literature festival. So my agent was asking, when is it ready? When is it ready? And I have been traveling so much. So then now I decided, even if I'm traveling, I'll write. So I was sitting in my hotel room and writing the second part of this book. So you'll know whether she found her home in the second part. Okay. In this one, she found her brick and mortar home, for sure.
Thanks for that big announcement. Let's wait for the sequel. I think we should open the stage for questions, comments.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I have read your one book. It's pretty old, like My Secret Wish List.
Yeah.
And that book was very significant for me. Like I read it in when I was in 9th standard, and that was the first book that made me think that even a mother could have her own life.
Yes.
And that made me rethink my, my values and my thoughts about like women and even my mother can have her own life. So
yes,
that was very significant in my life. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So in that book, it's about, the mother makes a wish list. And by the end of the book, like we never think that Amamara okay, what's her world? It is only her husband and kids. We never think of a mother can have wishes, you know. So that's what he's talking about. The book is The Secret Wish List. There's a question here. Can we have the mic here?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Madhvi. I have read your book. I have one book with me, one of the old books which you have written earlier, and I loved reading it. Especially something about your children growing up.
Oh, yes, yes. That was my first book.
First book.
Yes.
So, no, you said you had to face a lot of rejections.
Yes.
So, do you think as a woman, you had to fight hard to find a footing in the world of literature? Because I'm talking about from my experience. I have authored a book. It's a collection of poems. I got it published, but then the book didn't move at all. A few of my friends and some others who knew me bought the book. The book's still lying in the bookstore. It's available on Amazon, and TBS from Calicut published it, Purna Publications. So I don't know. So that is what I'm asking you. Have you found any difficulty in the world of literature where a woman is considered when it comes to writing, to publish, no, to be accepted as a writer in the field of literature?
100% no. Literature is one field where there is no gender differentiation. If you've written a good story, people will be able to publish it. Now, why rejections is definitely not because I was a woman or anything of that sort. Even if a male had written this book, publishers might have rejected because my book was on mental health. It was about bipolar disorder, and people were not sure to publish that book. As regards poetry, I have written over 100 poems. No one wants to publish it because you don't make money from poetry books. They don't sell. That's a sad fact in our country. So as a commercial writer, they would rather publish my novels than my poetry. Gender has absolutely nothing to do with it. But it so happens that the highest selling authors in our country are men, and I am the only woman in that list. I feel it's simply because women do not promote enough. You know, women do not push. Like if you see a guy has written, he will go and give 10 press interviews, he'll stand on top of the world and announce, I've written this book. Not many women do it because for whatever reasons, maybe women are shy, maybe they think promotion is wrong, I don't know what they think. But gender has absolutely nothing to do with a manuscript being accepted or rejected. That I can tell with confidence.
And ma'am, your books often delve with human emotions and relationships. And what kind of approach do you take to in an authentic way? And second, another question is also there. You clearly said your love for the regional languages, especially Malayalam. Can we expect a Malayalam work from your side in future?
It's all been translated into Malayalam. So I did not study in a Malayalam medium school. The fact that I'm speaking the language itself is a big thing because my mother tongue is Konkani. So I don't see any reason for me to write in that language to show my love for the language because there are translators. A lot of my books have been translated. Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, everything. So I'm most comfortable in English. So I would write in English. And how do I, please have a seat. So how do I deal with emotions? I get into the heads of the characters. And that's really hard. That's really hard. So the second book was about a girl with bipolar disorder. So first of all, I did a lot of research. I spoke to parents whose children have bipolar. I spoke to a psychiatric nurse. And then I picture myself as that character. So I felt very sick after writing that book. I felt down, I felt depressed. And if I'm writing from a male point of view, I'll think like the character. So that's how I breathe emotions into the character. It takes a lot out of me. And then when I finish writing the book, I'm relieved because now they don't have to be inside my heads. And I would create like a 360-degree character. I will know everything about the character, you know, how their room is, where did they grow up, what toothpaste do they use, you know, where are they messy, are they clean, what do they like to do in their free time, what are they afraid of. Everything I'll know. It may not come in the book, but it will be a 360-degree alive character, and then it becomes easy to get into the mind of that character. Like Alka, it was, once I knew her background, what has she been through, then I could get into her head and write out her emotions.
Good afternoon, ma'am. The first book I read of yours was Life is What You Make It, the second one. I want to ask you, so when you thought of a plot, the title comes in the last time, or when some title strikes you and you start writing, any such instance, or all of these books, and you finished the complete plot and then you thought of which title suits you? That is one question. Another one is another version of what he asked. you were not expecting a book in the Malayalam, but anytime you thought of placing a geographical a story when the geographical location is Kerala?
എല്ലാ ബുക്സിലും കേരള ആണ് എൻ്റെ ലൊക്കേഷൻ.
ഉണ്ട്, പക്ഷേ completely like that.
Publicly means?
Completely Malayalam characters.
See, because I have lived here for a few years, so it's partially, mostly we write from our lived experiences. So definitely partially there's Kerala, there's a lot of Kerala in my book. Fully Kerala, there might be like 100 Little Flames, a lot of Kerala is there. So that is one. And question you asked about title. So title I feel is super important because my first book I titled 34 Bubblegums and Candies, and I thought that was a very unique, nice title. And in Delhi they will say, "Arey, wo bubblegum wali kitab dena," they used to say like that, okay. Then second book I thought, okay, I'll make a better title, and I wrote Tea for Two and a Piece of Cake. So I thought, very nice title. And then I realized that people are saying 3 cups of tea, tea and cake, you know. So I said, okay, the title has to be striking. People have to remember it. So the third book was Secret Wish List. So that people didn't. Life is what you make it. So then I became better with titles. And I brainstorm a lot. Sometimes the title comes to me while I'm writing the book. It will be a phrase or something which leapt up at me. And sometimes it will be later. So yeah, that's how it is.
So we began the discussion by talking about secrets. Let me end also by talking about secrets. So finally the secret is revealed and she feels like, you know, her world is going to burst into 1,000 flames. It's a moment you don't want to miss. So please read the books. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience.